So I'm Daniel Free. I'm a legal engineer at Legora, and this is Jonathan Williams, also a legal engineer at Legora, and we're going to give you a little bit of a best practices legal hack, kind of the cutting edge of what Legora is doing right now. So thank you all for joining us. I know it is the first session on the second day. I'm actually quite impressed with the number of people I see here right now. So with that, I'll just jump right in because we only have 10 minutes, and I want to give you the most value for your buck right here. So I'm looking around the room right now, and like most of you, I see many of you on your screens. And what's on your screens is probably the same thing that's on mine. Teams, email, Slack. How many quick questions do you have sitting in your inbox right now from sales? I see some laughing, some nodding. And how many of those are the 47th time you've answered that same question over and over again? You have one client too many, and it's your own company. Every team in your business, sales, procurement, HR, product, is your client. And most of you are serving them all from an inbox. You are the firm to your business. The best legal ops teams and legal teams in this room are already operating that way informally. But Portal will allow you to do so formally with a branded workspace, permission sharing, scoped AI, and workflows your business can actually run themselves. Rather than tell you what that looks like, I'm going to let our expert Jonathan here show you what that looks like.
Thank you so much, Dan. Good morning, everybody. Well, I'll repeat Dan's congratulations for making it here to the very difficult early sessions on the second day. I'm just going to hop across into the platform. And I'm going to take you through the portal. I like to say that one of the hardest jobs at Legora is explaining to people what Legora does, because it moves so quickly. Everything changes, and every time I turn my computer on in the morning, there's something new, and it has to be done in a different way. The way legal work gets done is also changing. We've been talking about agents. We at Legora have been talking about AOS, and I know there are many people in this room who've been working very hard on this issue for a very long time. So what you're going to see here this morning is unfortunately very, very limited in terms of scope, in terms of what it can do, in terms of what can be done with the technology. We're not even scratching the surface this morning, inevitably. And you'll also have questions about what's the difference between Claude Legal and Anthropic, and why would I buy this instead of a foundational model? And please do come to the booth, and we'll be more than happy to talk about that at, in my case, very, very great length. So this is the platform, and the portal space will allow you as team members to configure any number of portals. So this is a random one that I've just chosen, and you can personalize the branding. You can personalize the branding to match your guidelines, your brand, and the reason we like the way that the portal can work for a legal team is because it offers very, very fine-grained control over what you make available to your colleagues, how you make it available, and the way in which they can consume it. So you can see on the screen some of the primitives. So we've got projects on the left there, we've got some databases, and we've got some workflows. Projects can contain files, tabular reviews. It's a collaborative workspace, real-time generative AI collaborative workspace. You can do due diligence reviews, employment contract audits, procurement. There's a huge amount of things that can be done within a project. A database enables things like a chat, so you can talk to the contents of legal policies. You can give access to a team in Brazil can have access to only the Brazilian policies. The global central team can have access to all the policies, and you can define and dictate who has access to what. And you can also have, of course, portal metrics. So you can see which business unit has been doing the most work, who's been interrogating your documents, who's been generating the most workflows. And you can see all of these things across your whole organization. Let me just show you a couple of examples. I don't trust hotel Wi-Fi, so I did pre-cook some of these. What's parental leave like in France? I've got 4 kids. The answer, awesome. Parental leave is awesome. It usually makes Americans cry. So I've asked the database, and it's found the right document, and it's answering, and it's grounding its answers in the sources. So this is validated, approved information from the legal team that you're delivering in an asynchronous fashion across the globe, and you're able to see who's accessing it and when and what they're doing with it. So that's a very basic, very, very basic example. A slightly more complex example would be a self-serve third-party paper review. Now this is super basic. This is a single step, and it's going to take a document, it's going to review it against the playbook, and give you a red line. That's it. This is almost table stakes in 2026. But this is extensible. You can have any number of steps. We can build things that go on and on and on. We've got steps that we've got flows that we work on with some of our clients that run for hours, literally hours. And they burn a terrible amount of tokens. I'm sure it's not very good for the environment, but the output is absolutely incredible. And again, it's done in a way here where you control the guardrails. You choose what people can do with the information. You choose how they use it, how they work with it, and you can define the way that the outputs come out. So I didn't even launch the, what do we got here? Let's launch that one. Run workflow, like that. And be able to see it and how it works. It thinks and then it produces the red line and so on and so forth. And again, here's one I prepared earlier, and it explains. It explains that it's redlined against the playbook, it's saved the redlined version into my project, and it's given me an explanation. The classic use case for this is indeed something like commercial contracting for things that are perhaps low value or perhaps slightly higher value, but where you've got a very, very good idea of what your guidelines have to be and what your playbook has to be, commercially, legally, to manage your risk. And once you reach that level of comfort with your process and your playbook, that's when you can sort of step out of the loop and hand it over and trust your business colleagues or your legal colleagues to do the right thing with the output from there. So again, I'm really sorry. This is a very super fast run through of some of the things that are possible. I hope it kind of opens our chakras in terms of functionality, but it really is a seismic shift. And this also, to note, does not include anything that we announced last week, just before we came to CLOC, about the agentic OS, which does a huge amount more. It can work in your workspace. It can reorganize files, rename files, and do so much more. That's more than enough for me, so I'm going to hand it straight back to Dan.
Thank you, Jonathan. That was awesome. So what did we just see? Because I know it was quick and it was a lot. So 3 things, right? 1, a workspace that is branded, permissioned to the cell, and auditable to the click. 2, workflows that the team built once, can be run by your business units, and contain all of the guardrails that your legal team has built in. And 3, an assistant AI scoped to your documents, your policies, your permissions. No drift, no web searching, no hallucinogenics. And under all of it right here on the bottom of the screen is the ribbon your CISO will love most, right? GDPR compliant, ISO certifications, 0 AI training. This is not loose AI for your business. This is controlled access for privileged legal work. So don't boil the ocean. Pick one team. Sales tends to be the most demanding. Procurement has the highest volume. Pick a task that's happening over and over again. NDA intake we just saw, could be a vendor review, could be a template selection, right? And then measure. The only way an AI is good is if you can measure what the efficiencies it's bringing to your organization are. What does that review time look like? Has the volume increased? Are more lawyer hours freed to do more high intelligent work, less outside counsel work? The story will tell itself from there. So I know we are running out of time here, so I just want to say my takeaway for you all, stop accepting the update as the deliverable. Ship out a workspace for your business units and allow them to do the self-servicing themselves. One internal client, one workflow, 1 quarter. That's how all of this ends, with you running a service your business actually wants. Thank you guys so much. We're Daniel and Jonathan. Please come in the Legora booth.